Hi knitters, Vivian here from The Guilty Knitter, and welcome to episode 12. It is October the 4th, I think, 2018, and it's a very wretchedly rainy day today, so excuse the artificial light, but there's just not enough coming in the window. I don't have anything fancy, of course, but yeah. Here's little Monty, my co-host. He's kind of quiet, but he doesn't say much. That's okay. We love him anyway. Welcome, and if you want to find me on social media, I am at Guilty Knitter on Instagram, and I am called The Guilty Knitter on Ravelry. Those are the two main places you can find me. I also have a Ravelry group for The Guilty Knitters, so just, when you get into Ravelry, just search that. You can also check out my project page, which has most of my projects on there, I think, and quite a few details. I like to keep up my projects on there. I find it fun. Not everybody does, but I kind of like writing things on my pages, or on the projects. So yeah. I think that Monty is getting restless, so I think I'll put him down. And there we go. Off you go, dear. So yeah, welcome. And it's been a while since I last podcast. I think it was a month ago. Almost exactly. No, August 13th. No, so that's not. Oh yeah, gosh, that's a long time ago. Almost 2 months ago. Well, I'm hoping now that the fall is in full swing that I will do more regular podcasting. So maybe every couple of weeks again, as I used to do. And I hope you'll come back and join me for all of them. It's really fun to be back podcasting because I enjoy the interaction, even though there's nobody actually sitting here in the room. I know you're out there. I know there are a few people who do watch most of my podcasts, and I really appreciate you guys coming back to see what I'm to see what I'm babbling on about. And no, I really do appreciate it. And of course, any new viewers, you're welcome. And stay tuned. It gets better, believe me. I hope. I have actually quite a few things to talk to you about. I have at least one finished object, which was on my needles for a long time. I have 2, 3, 4 FOs, or not FOs, whips to show you. And I've got quite a few things. But I just wanted to share with you a little bit. I don't know if I've mentioned this recently, but I restarted knitting about 4 years ago. I had knitted when I was young, and I quit maybe in my early 30s. And at that point, I was really busy with my kids, my job, and a husband who was away a lot. So it was a frantic time in my life, and somehow knitting kind of went by the wayside. You know how it is. We didn't have any Ravelry back then, and online there was nothing, obviously. But so now when I restarted 4 years ago, it was a completely different situation and experience. Because anytime I needed help, I could go to YouTube, all kinds of tutorials on YouTube, plus I have a wonderful LYS just up the road, of course, Espace Tricot. It's only 2 blocks from my house. So I really enjoyed it, getting back into it in the last 4 years, and I've become quite obsessed. I mean, I always liked it. I always really enjoyed it, even before when it was a little more challenging, because you had to learn by, I had my mother to help me a little bit, but she wasn't an expert knitter or anything. And it was just a lot more challenging, and the patterns themselves were not all that self-explanatory. But I have made some really nice things that I'm really proud of from back then. Like I made a sweater for my husband. I've showed you that on another episode. And I made a cute little sweater for my daughter. I don't know, she was about 6 years old, and I made her this striped cardigan. It was so cute. And she lost it, like, immediately almost, it seems to me. She left it at I don't know, she did a camp of some kind. A day camp, or I don't know what it was, I forget, but I'm pretty sure she left it there. So that was sad. But I still remember it fondly. It had a hat that went with it as well, which I think she kept for a while. Well, things haven't really changed in that department. I seem to have a sort of low success rate in making things that my daughter keeps or likes. But anyway, I shouldn't say that, because if she watches this, she'll be like, Mom, that's not true. But it kind of is. My son I have more success. Maybe he's less fussy, or he's just more open to wearing n'importe quoi, which means anything at all. Yeah, so I don't know. Could be any one of those things. But anyway, since I started back 4 years ago, my friend Linda and I have knitted up a storm. She's been my friend forever, and we both knitted when we were younger. We both took it up at the exact same month, 4 years ago, by complete coincidence. And I just wanted to say how much I appreciate my knitting circle, my not, you guys online for sure, but especially my knitting buddies that I get together with on a pretty much a weekly basis. Yeah, we have a lovely time. We get together on Fridays at the store, and then we sometimes get together outside of that framework as well. And it's just it's been really, really fun, and it means a lot to me. Such a supportive group, and especially now with all the politics that are probably driving most of us a bit crazy. I try not to read the news. I find it's too depressing and upsetting. Some people think that that's kind of, I don't know, what's the word? I think people think it's your obligation to keep up with what's going on, and I don't know exactly understand that, because how is it helping anybody if I know all the details of what's going on? Like, I did not watch 1 minute of the Kavanaugh hearing. It's just too upsetting. So I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. I want to be a creative person, try to make the world a better place through beauty and crafts and gardening, which is another passion of mine, and music, of course, which is my actual job. I play trombone in the Montreal Symphony Orchestra. Anyway, just all those things are what I think life is all about. And if it helps anyone to feel better, to watch this, or to pick up their knitting and be inspired by something maybe I said, which I hope, but who knows, then I feel like that's kind of, better than anything. So, welcome to the Guilty Knitter. And the reason why I'm called the Guilty Knitter is because I know I basically feel guilty about a lot of things, but which comes from, I hate to say it, my mother was a wonderful person, but she made me feel guilty a lot of things. I used to read tons, and I'd read after school on the sofa for hours, well, at least till dinner time, and then probably after dinner till bedtime if I could. But she was always like, don't you have anything else to do? I was reading books. Is that such a bad thing? But I tell you, when I'm doing something like that, that's just, I feel like I'm wasting my time, because that's kind of what she drilled into me without meaning to. She was a big reader, but she felt that I must be, forgetting other things that I had to do, whatever. And so it's the same with knitting. I buy too much yarn, I spend too much time knitting, so there's always an element of, guilt. So that's why I called myself the Guilty Knitter. I couldn't think of a better name. Before I go on, I will mention that this is the 3-color cashmere shawl that I finished last winter. Actually, I don't remember when exactly. It seems to me I haven't had a chance to wear it very much. But you've probably seen it before, but I'm going to pass it in front of your admiring eyes again. And isn't it lovely? It's just so pretty. In case you're wondering, I only did 2 repeats of this lace section. It was just so long. Can you see how long these rows are? I just couldn't do it anymore. So I think it's fine the way it is, and it's great because you could just put it around your neck, and it keeps on going around your neck about 12 times, it seems. But I do love it. I don't really need it today, but I don't care. If I get hot, I'll take it off. But it's not bad, right? And it's just so pretty. Yeah. So, first things first. I'm going to look at my notes. I did write to you. I did mention where you can find me, right? Oh, I also wanted to mention I have 2 blogs. Because I do like to write as well, and one of the blogs is called Vivian's Tranquil Garden, and so you can Google it. I'll write the URL on the right below on there. And that's mostly about gardening, but now that I'm a big knitter, I've decided to, make it mostly about knitting, especially during the winter. So I'll try to keep that up, regularly. I really do like to write, and I enjoy the whole blogging experience. The only thing is I've been using my iPad because a couple of years ago my computer died and I never replaced it. But now, pretty soon, I'm going to get a new one. Well, it's a new old one, but my husband's getting a new one. He's giving me his old one, which is still pretty good. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to it'll be more efficient to blog. It's just so hard on my iPad, I find. I have this other blog which is much more kind of eclectic. I write about all kinds of things, and my husband and my son also write on there, and it's called the Lee Martin Family Blog Solution. I mean, occasionally, I think maybe once or twice my daughter also wrote something, but it's mostly the 3 of us. Anyway, it has some interesting things. You're welcome to check that out. I recently actually talked about why I don't watch the news or keep up with the news, so you might want to check that out. Okay, so back to knitting, because this is a knitting post, a knitting blog. Okay, 1 second, I have to go get some. Okay, here I am back. Okay, this is super exciting because I finished my Cathedral Grove cardigan that I made for my husband, for Dave. So this is the back. Ta-da! Isn't that nice? Pretty nice, eh? And there are the sleeves, and apparently they're a little too long because he's been turning it up at the end, and I'm thinking of, maybe frogging back a little bit to make them the right length, but that may or may not happen. And here's the front. I really love this pattern. It's got, as you can see, a garter edge here that I made a little bit wider than the pattern called for, because I was a little worried that it actually wasn't going to fit around my husband's somewhat ample frame. As it turned out, it's plenty big enough. And here are some buttons, which I bought at Espace Tricot. I quite like them. I like the red brown against the blue. And here are the pockets. Isn't that nice? I don't think I ever did pockets before. So yeah, all in all, I'm extremely, extremely proud of this. It took me, I guess it was on my needles for 10 months. But that doesn't mean I was working on it for 10 months. Like I told somebody at work, they said, how long does it take you to do something like that? And I said, of course, they always ask you that, right? I don't know how many hours I spent on this thing. I mean, who can count? But I certainly didn't spend 10 solid months on it because I spent the whole summer avoiding it at least. And then, well, most of last winter, I just did it in dribs and drabs. So I got into it at the end of August. I said, okay, I have to get this done. He has to have it for the fall and winter. And I just went for it. And that's one reason I didn't actually podcast a little bit earlier, because I really wanted to get this project done. And then when it was done, I went back to work and I was kind of busy doing this and that and the other thing. So I just didn't get back to podcasting. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so that's that. Oh, I want to tell you a couple things about the pattern that if I were doing it again, I might do differently. I have to say, first of all, these sleeves are supposed to be picked up and knit, and I actually knit them separately because I didn't want to, it's a huge project. I didn't want to have to carry around or even have this in my lap, like this whole thing. So I knit the first sleeve and I attached it and everything to see about the length. For some reason, I still got the length wrong, but anyway, because I tried it on him and I thought I had it right, and I don't know, it's still too long, but whatever. I am not crazy about the way this kind of hangs. It looks good on him. I mean, it looks okay on him, but I find this looks a little weird in here. Like this plain thing and then the cable after it. I don't know. I think if I were doing it again, I wouldn't, not sure, I would maybe alter it so that it wasn't quite as much of a drop sleeve. Or I would just take out the cable on the sleeve if I were doing it for myself, which I really do like this pattern. So you never know, I would use a softer yarn as well. Because that's a pretty rough yarn. It's called Tuffy, and it's very well named. It is by Briggs & Little, which is a New Brunswick company, and I believe it's 80% wool and 20% nylon or something like that, or maybe it's 90-10. I can't remember, but it has some nylon in it, so it's a pretty strong. I imagine it'll be around for forever. Pretty strong yarn. So, do I have anything else to say about that? No, I don't think so. If I think of something, I'll add it later. Alrighty, so now, that was my FO. Yeah, Dave seems to like it. He wore it maybe for the first 4 days that I gave it to him, and he hasn't really worn it since. The problem is that when it gets a bit colder, he wants to wear a jacket, like a sport coat, and he can't wear a sport coat over that. So, I don't know. He may not get that much wear out of it, which is kind of sad, but I hope he uses it. Fingers crossed. It's too big for me. It looks like I'm wearing my dad's, hand-me-downs or something. Like, it's just not cool. Okay, so my first whip, work in progress here, is the Birkin by Caitlin Hunter, and here it is. I'm really liking it. Well, I get a little bit closer. It's hard to show you the bottom. I'll just show you that like that. Here we go. So those are the 5 colors: the light pink, the blue, the gray, the dark pink, and there's that forest green. Now, the blue and the gray are both Brooklyn Tweed Loft. I believe, hold on. I have to tell you the colorway. Oh yeah, so the blue is called the Old World colorway, and it's really a beautiful blue with some red specks. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can. Some red specks, maybe even some green. Well, not really green, but anyway, it's mostly like with tiny little red specks and maybe some lighter blue. It's just a wonderful yarn. I love it. And then this is a gray, which I'm not sure if it's pumice or sweatshirt, because anyway, something like that. It's just a nice light gray. It's funny how they're supposed to be the same yarn, but I find the gray is plumper and softer than the blue. I don't understand that. But yeah, so that's that. I was originally going to do a branches and buds cardigan, and I still might do one of those eventually, but I just got kind of smitten with this pattern. I just love the flowers, you know. I'm a flower person, flower child maybe. Not really, flower lady. Yeah, so I decided to use the yarn that I had bought for the branches and buds to make this. Of course, I had to find some other yarns for the color work, so I found the pink. The dark pink was a little bit that I had left from my Vertices Unite, and it's Julie Asselin Fino. So I believe it's cashmere, silk, and merino. Is that correct? I might have that wrong, but anyway, it's a really lovely mix. It does pick up the fluff though, as you can see. But I think I'll just have enough of this for the rest of this pattern, because I have to do another repeat of this dark pink band here because it comes back. But I think I'll have just enough, I'm hoping. And then I used this old green that I had hanging around, and that's by Sweet Paprika. That's a Montreal company actually, and I had bought some mini skeins of theirs for a project, like a mitten project, which I've never done. So I thought, well, I'll just use it for the green leaves. Then I had to buy. Okay, I had to break my yarn fast, such as it is. I'm supposed to be knitting from stash this year. I'm really trying, but yeah, not working quite like I'd hoped. But anyway, I bought this, which is tuku wool, and now Espace Tricot is carrying a lot more of these rustic yarns now, and this is tuku wool in the TAATE, don't know how to pronounce that, Tate 28 colorway. So it's like a nice light pink. On the dull side, I was a little worried that I wouldn't like it. So I don't know. I think I do like it. It's quite pretty. I did not do the centers of these pink flowers because it's just so fussy, and it was supposed to be in this gray colorway. The way the pattern called for it anyway, was to do a little center in the gray. And I didn't think that would show up very well, and I thought, oh, forget it. I'm not going to bother if it's not even going to show much. But I can always add a center in duplicate stitch. So that's what I might do. I'll see. Because I find that these little pink things kind of look like a sort of scary face instead of a flower. Does it look like that to you? I don't know. I'm totally making that up. I'm sure it doesn't really look like, or I guess it's kind of more like a snowflake, which is fine. Okay, so that's coming along. The issues I have with this pattern, I tried this on. In fact, I might try it on just right now to show you, because my friend lent me her very long needle. This is a funny story. My friend Rubina from the knitting circle, she bought. When she got into knitting, she bought this enormously, she brought this 150 centimeter needle, 60 inches, because she thought, well, it'll be good for anything. I can knit anything on it. Little did she know that she might find it really annoying. Okay, so I think this is gonna be fine. It feels like there's plenty of room, but I had to do some finagling to get this to work because the pattern doesn't really, it's on the small side, the color work. You have to be really generous with this pattern. You need to go up a size. The only reason I didn't go up a size, I'm in the large, which is what I should be, but my gauge is quite a bit bigger than what it calls for. I mean, I had so much trouble. I cast on for the large, and then I realized I was getting like I think the gauge is supposed to be 26 stitches for 4 inches, and I was getting 24. So I was like, oh, it's going to be too big. I knitted down to about here before I realized that it was maybe going to be too big. So I decided, oh, okay, so when the next increase comes, hi, sorry about that. Got a little interruption there from my neighbor. Okay, yeah, so where was I? The large was, I thought, going to be too big, so I just increased to the medium-sized number of stitches right here. And then I knit down a little bit, maybe 2 inches of the color work, and I realized, uh-oh, I'm getting, my stitches are way too tight. And even though I'd gone up a needle size like you're supposed to, it wasn't enough. So I frogged back to just below this green part, and I added the stitches for the large, and it went up again a needle size. So I was already up at 4 millimeter size instead of 3.5 or whatever. And then I knitted and knitted and knitted, and then I brought it to as fast tricot because I still wasn't sure if it was going to be okay. And Amalia told me maybe you should go up to 4.5. So I'm currently knitting on a 4.5, and I think I'm getting actually the gauge that's correct for my size. I think. I mean, I'm not very good at checking gauge because for some reason I get a different reading every time. But I'm going by the fact that it's going over my shoulders very comfortably. So I'm just going to keep on going. This neck is, I hope isn't going to be, it's a little weird, eh? Is it just me, or is it kind of floppy? I'm hoping that when it actually is, well, I don't know, maybe I'm just, well, so far I like it. I don't know, we'll see. It's a little floppy. I might be able to fix that later. Anyway, but doesn't that look nice? Ta-da! So anyway, I'm gonna carry on. What I was saying about this needle that my friend bought when she thought it would be an all-purpose needle. It works great for trying on sweaters. So I just transferred all the stitches onto it, and now I can knit off of it because it's actually a 4 millimeter needle, not 4.5. So I will have to, yeah, but that's fine. I can't knit on this needle, but I can knit off of it. Okay, so that's my Birkin, and I'm kind of excited about it. I don't even want, I looked ahead at the pattern, and it's a little daunting. I have to add, I don't know how many more stitches after this color work. It's going to be a lot of stitches on the needle, and then need a eye for the sleeves, so it comes down to a more manageable size number of stitches after that. So I guess it'll be okay. I just have to take it one row at a time, right? Just one row at a time. Here, I finished my whole podcast, and then I realized I meant to mention about my stranding technique that I'm not really excited about how it's going. I mean, I don't feel like I have a sort of method that I keep with, the right yarn and under and over, etc., to keep it really even. The back doesn't look too bad. This is the back, of course. I've been mostly not letting the floats get above 5 stitches, but here, this gray yarn, I decided to go nuts and let it go a little bit longer. Yeah, they say that this stuff just basically starts to felt to itself after a while, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. But yeah, I just don't find that it's super even, and it's a bit bumpy. But you know what? It's a learning experience. It's not going to be perfect. This is the biggest stranded color work I've ever done, I'm sure. Project, and yeah, so it's a learning curve, One of the interesting ladies I met at the class the other night was talking about, she had made a Sunset Highway. Her name was Heather, I think, which I remember because my sister's name is Heather. Yeah, she had made the Sunset Highway, but she made it a cardigan. So she had steeked it. Sunset Highway, if you don't know, is by Caitlin Hunter. So it's the same designer as this one, as the Birkin. And so she'd done that, and she showed me all her color work, and what she did is she actually twisted every stitch, so she didn't have any floats. It was just every stitch was wound around itself, and you'd think that that would make a very bulky fabric, but it was extremely pliable, extremely loose, and it's kind of, you know, drapey. So I was really impressed with that. I thought, you know, I was halfway through this, so I'm not going to change or try to do that now, but I thought I would investigate that method and see, maybe on a pair of mittens or something. Or I'm making the hearth slippers by Diana Walla, I think they are. I'm going to make those for a class coming up at Espastrico. So maybe that would be a good time to learn that technique. I don't know, give it a try. It wouldn't matter as much probably in a pair of slippers, but it would be good practice. So I'll see that. I'll see, maybe. I do want to try it because even though it might be quite time consuming, it could be a really nice fabric when you're done. Because the problem with these floats is that they tend to make the fabric kind of stiff. Although this isn't too bad, I have to say. It's not too bad at all. But I think it would be more drapey. It could be more drapey. So that's it. Those are my things I've learned lately about color work. Yeah, I guess I don't have much more to say on that topic. So there you go. I'm going on to the rest of the podcast. Bye. I'm gonna put my beautiful cashmere, three-color cashmere thing on again, just for fun. Uh-oh. Oh, sorry. I thought my neighbor's dog is over visiting, and I thought she was eating Monty's food, but I don't think there's anything in there. Okay, so I guess I have nothing else to say about this. Yeah, so the problem, yeah, with this pattern is the lack of gradual increases, because you can't in this pattern do that because of all the color work. It's so much color work that I guess she didn't know how to add stitches, and I think she did this quite a few years ago, so maybe she has a lot more skills now when it comes to pattern writing. But yeah, it's a little dodgy in that regard. So you have to kind of fuss around with needle sizes and the stitch counts, unless you want to try your hand at adding stitches, increasing in between, but I wouldn't know how to do that. So, I mean, that would take more math than I can handle. So, yeah. So when it does increase, it increases by a lot. So, yeah. I hope it'll be great. That's my hope. All right, so that's that. Birkin, done. And next I have, oh yeah, I'm knitting on these socks. So this is some sock talk, which I don't often have, but I have actually two pairs of socks to talk to you about. This is a nice pair. I'm just making vanilla socks in a Drops colorway. Drops Fable, I believe is the name of this this sock yarn, and it's lovely. I mean, I'm amazed. I mean, people think I'm doing such fancy stuff, you know, and my friends at work go, oh my goodness, that's really fancy. I mean, yeah, the yarn does it itself, which is pretty fun. It makes it a lot more fun to make vanilla socks. So this is going to be a sock for my husband because he likes fancy socks. And I think it'll fit him. I tried it on him the other day. It seems to be okay. So that's a 68 stitch toe up. I did, you know, Jenny's Magic Cast On. Is that it? I think. Yeah, I basically do the same thing. I think I cast on probably 32 stitches first, and then did my increases. Knitting front and back probably is my favorite one, and then straight up, And we'll see what I'll do with the heel. Probably just my usual faux heel flap. So that's a superwash wool, 75% and 25% nylon, which I would really like to try knitting without superwash yarn, socks without it, but so they're a little hard to find, and at least not. I don't know if they have any at Espace Tricot, which is okay. I whatever, but I wanted to try it someday. Okay, so next, before I do show you that, I'll show you my sort of sad state of affairs with my socks that I knit last. These were knitted mostly last winter, or I started them last winter. They were supposed to be my Christmas socks for last Christmas. I didn't get very far with them, so I ended up thinking, okay, I'm gonna knit them for Erica, my daughter, because I thought they were gonna be too big for me. And yeah, sure enough, the first one fit her, but the second one was too small. So then I finished them during the summer, because I was going to see her and I thought I could give them to her. But I mean, obviously, I'm challenged when it comes to knitting two socks the same. Don't you just love the way that looks though? This is called, this pattern is Hermione's Everyday Sock. And it's just such a nice little dimpled pattern. It's really, really easy, and I recommend it. It's on Ravelry. I forget whether it's a free pattern, but might be. The rest of it, I mean, I did a toe-up version. Hers is Hermione's Everyday Sock is a cup-down version, but you can do it either way. So yeah, so the second sock, which is this sock, was too big for her, so I said, or too small for her. So I thought, screw it, I'm going to keep these, and I'm going to undo this because it was too long in the foot. So I did. I undid it, and then I thought I could just Kitchener stitch it back up together. Well, I made a mistake in the Kitchener stitch and had to redo it. Anyway, I'm sort of frustrated with this because I'm thinking I might have to undo even all of it, because I think I definitely screwed something up here because I've got a little hole here. So I haven't gotten to the point where I have the courage to undo it all again, like all of it. I did undo this part because this was all done up, and I undid it again. Okay, this is the first time I'm trying this, okay, so obviously it's going to be a slow process, but I really want these socks because they're so pretty. It's funny how these are from one ball of yarn. There's an argument for alternating your rows if I ever saw one, but I didn't even think about it. So I have two socks that are quite different, but that doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm glad they're for me and not for anyone else, because maybe somebody else, it would bother them. Maybe Erica wouldn't worn them, which would be awful. Okay, so there's that. And so that's a sock almost finished. Next time I hope to be able to show you a finished sock on that. Oh, okay, so here I have, I'm really making strides on my birds of a feather shawl. Here's the very beginning of it, which I started in Jade Sapphire, which is, it's by Jade Sapphire, Sylph, that's right. So Jade Sapphire Sylph is a cashmere linen blend. It's really, really nice because the cashmere makes it super soft, but the linen gives it a bit more structure. So it's really, really nice. And then this is the Shibui Silk Cloud in a very light pink colorway, which I don't remember the name of. And this is La Bien-Aimée. I don't remember the colorway name either, but I bought that in Paris. Okay, wait a minute, what am I saying? This mohair is a La Bien-Aimée mohair, that's right, because I bought them together, so I wanted to make something that would match them up. So I chose this pattern, and actually I'm just realizing I'm showing you the wrong side, So here's the right side. And there's the lace, which I'm telling you, it's not a difficult lace, but somehow I have made so many mistakes on it. Ugh, it's very frustrating. When you're doing the plain garter stitch, this pattern is a breeze and it's fun, and the only problem is that you might forget a yarn over, because that's how you increase the stitches on the end, on the sides. And then when it starts to go off the rails, like here you go, there's the spot where you're no longer increasing on one side and you are increasing on the other side, so you don't actually increase stitches, but it becomes kind of off center, as you can see. So there's this side which is shorter and this one is way longer. I don't really understand how it's going to look at the very end, but whatever. Here's my, I decided to do some lace in that sylph. It's hard to see it. I just finished the last of the lace rows, and of course I'm off by a stitch. I don't know. I'm just not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to carry on, because that's the last lace row, and I'm just going to keep knitting, because after this it's all garter stitch until the border. So it doesn't really matter if it's off by one stitch. So there you go. It's really fun. I recommend it. I just love it. I don't know why I love it so much, because it's an awkward shape. I mean, it's a bit like my 3-color cashmere shawl in the fact that it's going to be really long and skinny. But you can kind of, you know, imagine it around my neck pretty much already. And I guess that's it. The end will be skinny and you just tie it up somehow or other. I love it. So soft. I'm realizing though, I have a big basket full of these things, full of knitted scarves and shawls. Well, mostly shawls. I don't really knit scarves because it's boring. But shawls, which I use as scarves. I have so many, and I still want to knit more of them. So this is a bit of a problem. I should probably start giving them away, but they're my babies. I can't give them away. Oh well, we'll see. Maybe I will one of these days. I am, oh, I think I mentioned last time that I bought some cashmere for a project. Did I mention it last time? Maybe it's in my notes. Let's just have a look. In my queue. Oh yeah. No, I didn't write it. I didn't write it down. So, forget the name of the... Doesn't matter. Anyway, I have another beautiful shawl in my queue that I wanted. I even have the pattern. I have the yarn. As soon as I finish the Birds of the Feather, I'm going to cast it on. And Linda's doing one as well, so maybe we'll kind of do a bit of a private knit along, just the two of us. It's a lovely big shawl, like, again, kind of narrow, but a different shape. It's like a long rectangle that you button, and it kind of makes a wrap around your shoulders. It looks really sweet, and it has a big long border of lace, which is probably going to drive me crazy. Because lace, I don't know, it's my thing, but it is awfully pretty, so I'm hoping it'll be great, right? It's going to be great, right? Anyway, I can always use that cashmere for a different project if I decided that I don't know, I don't like it. Okay, so, whew, I'm getting tired and thirsty. Hi again. Got myself some water, which I'm drinking out of my beautiful Guilty Knitter mug. Check it out. That's designed by my niece. She did that gorgeous thing, which I think I've showed you. Well, I know I have, but it doesn't hurt to advertise a little bit more. Wow, so thirsty. Thirsty work, all this talking. So while I was gone, I thought I would show you my my stash acquisitions, which is this beautiful cashmere that I was talking to you about. It's in kind of a denim colorway, and this is the brand Yarn Atelier Cashmere lace. Anyway, it's really nice and soft. I debated a long time over the color. It comes in this cute little bag too, so, and it comes with this, a pattern, which, do I have it in here? No, I don't. Oh well. It was a little pattern anyway, for a hat, which I probably won't make, but, so I got 2 of them, and it's enough to make this, this shawl, which I'll show you. It's called Ariella, and it is so pretty. Couldn't resist. And when Linda and I decided to both buy this yarn, because we saw it we saw what's the name of the woman who runs that? Louisa Harding. Yeah, I saw her on my favorite podcast, which is Fruity Knitting, and I saw her on there, and she makes this gorgeous yarn, and they showed it in the same. Of course, they showed the original, echantillon, which is what's the word? They had this original project here, and so it was just so pretty. But I thought, I don't think that's really my color. I'm red, orangey red. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I didn't think it would be the right color for me. So I got this blue instead. But Linda got that original color. Oh, I'm gonna be so jealous maybe. She's already started hers, of course, and we'll see. She said she's not working on it right now because it just takes too much concentration with that lace. So I'm a little worried. So I haven't started it because, as I said, I want to finish my birds of a feather. I have to have some order in my life. I can't have 12 different things on my needles. I already have quite a few. So I thought, no, I am going to just take it easy. No. Hello, I'm back. I had to download what I had already recorded because, of course, my 8 gigabyte memory card was full. I know, I need to buy a new one. It's been on my list of things to do for a while. Yeah, so I'm almost finished. I talked about my birds of a feather, my Birkin, my socks. What else do I have? Okay, I do have this. I took a crochet class on Friday, or a couple of Fridays ago, at Espace Tricot. And I made this, well, I haven't finished it, but this is a little basket thing that I started, and it's fun, you know? Okay, I have to say, I find that crocheting is on the boring side compared to knitting. At least this is a little boring. I'm sure it's not all like that. But I just, it's nice what you can make, you know? So I'm gonna in fact, I'm gonna do a little bit of crocheting as we speak because it's so easy compared to, you know, knitting, gosh. But, you know, the only hard part was the very beginning when you have to make the circle, called the magic circle here at the very middle. This is how you start. That took me, gosh, I don't know, the first 45 minutes to figure it out, and I wasn't alone. Like most of us were having a lot of trouble. And then when we got that, well, you just whiz along. It's super easy after that. So I'm making this. I want to make it big enough to fold over the top, which I think is a nice look for this kind of thing. And then, I don't know, thought I'd use it on my side table, I guess. I could give it away, but as usual, I hate giving away the things that I make. Do you guys feel the same way? I know I've made things for lots of people. It's not that I never do that. But I almost have to start out with the idea that I'm going to give it away. Otherwise, I just can't seem to do it, you know? If I make something deliberately for someone, then it makes it easier. But this I made with, you know, I kind of wanted it. I want this little thing, even though it's not, do I need it? Not really. Anyway, this is 80% cotton, I think, or no, maybe it's 60% cotton and 40% nylon or something. But it makes it a very nice kind of fabric for this kind of thing, and it's easy to work with. So, and I got this really nice crochet hook. It came with the whole project. It all came under the same price tag, so pretty good deal. I enjoyed the class. We were 12 people, and most of them I didn't know, so it was fun. We chatted with a few people I didn't know before, and some very accomplished knitters. Most of us hadn't done much crocheting before. Some of us had, some people had, but I mean, I've done a little bit of crocheting, but really not much. And it was way back in the dark ages of my life. Gosh. I mean, I don't feel like I'm that old, but somehow some things seem very far away. I don't even remember why or when I learned how to crochet. But I did do a little bit way back in the day. Probably did some little flower thingies, you know, little granny square type things. Which I'm kind of curious to try to do those again. Make a blanket or something. That'd be kind of fun. Okay, so I guess I'm kind of ready to wrap up. I don't think I have anything much more to say. Seems odd. You know, another reason why I really like this whole process of talking, and I've mentioned this before, it's nice to be able to talk and no one's interrupting you. You just go on and talk about whatever you want. I kind of like that. But also, and it's been really good for me because I don't think I'm much of a talker really. I mean, I am. Okay, yeah, people would probably laugh. I do talk, but I often, in a large group, I don't tend to talk too much, and I don't know, I feel intimidated in a large group when people are they're talking about, I don't know. I feel somewhat reticent to talk or voice my opinions. But, so this is kind of giving me a little bit more practice at that. And, you know, bear with me. Hopefully, as time goes on, I'll get better at it. Yeah, I'm very happy to be back. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please press like below, and I will see you next time on The Guilty Knitter. And I will be inserting some pictures here and there, either beginning, the end, middle, not quite sure, but I will definitely insert some things, examples of things I've talked about. Like I'll insert a picture of my husband in his beautiful sweater, because it's kind of a cute shot. And other than that, probably garden pictures, because it's still gardening season for another month or so. Okay, love you guys. Happy knitting. Bye. Okay, I'm back. And I'm just going to show you what I'm doing with this bind off. And it's because this is a garter edge, this is why I chose this version instead of the purl through the back loop, or purl, yeah, basically twisted purl stitch that I got from Knit Purl Hunter. Anyway, this one you just knit two together through the back loop. See that? Pull that off. Put this one back on your needle, and then knit again through the back loop. And it just really makes a lovely edge. At least that's so far. And it's quite stretchy, but it's not baggy. You know, that's what I was worried about, is something that would end up being baggy. Okay, so that's it. And when I get to doing my next podcast, which might be today, I don't know, I'm going to have this all bound off and I can show it to you. So excited. Okay, bye. Happy knitting.